On this special edition of Time About the Movies today, we are taking a look at a series that I've kind of overlooked on this particular show, but considering I've been wanting to do a video about this for so long, I figured now's the perfect time to do this. So ladies and gentlemen, the moment of truth has arrived. We're going to take a look at every single Land Before Time movie. So, let's get right to it. So for this particular video, we're going to take a look at all 14 sequels to The Land Before Time. Don't believe me? There they are on the back of this. All 14 sequels. 14 sequels of this. There's more sequels to... There are about as many sequels to this as there are nearly almost as many Bond movies. Or, you know, just... I mean, that's how long this series has been going on. I mean, but... You know, let's talk about the original, and by talk about, I mean, show a clip from one of my first episodes of Time About the Movies where I talked about the original Land Before Time.
George Lucas and Steven Spielberg present a Don Bluth film, The Land Before Time. Long ago, when the Earth was new, 5 friends, lost and alone,
Mother?
took an incredible journey. A new adventure is born. The Land Before Time.
This coming out on the same day as Oliver and Company, that was a pretty good day for kids back then in November of '88 when both Land Before Time and Oliver and Company came out on the same day. But if I have to choose between one or the other, I would definitely say The Land Before Time is the far superior movie. And honestly, it's my second favorite Don Bluth movie after The Secret of NIMH. I mean, it really is a great animated movie. Very short animated movie, especially when you consider it's only an hour and 6 minutes long. Like, it doesn't really feel like that when you watch the movie, but it still holds up to this day. I watched this movie recently. I'm surprised at how much this film still holds up. The animation is great in this. The voice actors are very good here. The emotional moments hit hard. That's the great thing about Don Bluth and these movies that he made back in the 80s. He could show you the most nightmarish fuel moments of any for a kid back then. But if you end the movie on a happy ending, it's all worth it in the end. So, yeah, Land Before Time, classic movie. I don't think I really need to say more about that one. Like I said, I prefer it over Oliver and Company. And, like I said, second favorite Don Bluth movie after The Secret of NIMH. Land Before Time's a classic. And honestly, my thoughts on the original Land Before Time still haven't changed since then. It's still one of my nostalgic classics that I remember watching a lot as a little kid growing up. And even I go back to it nowadays, it is still easily the best of these movies in particular. But that's not saying that some of these aren't bad. There are some good Land Before Time sequels, some decent ones here. You know, kind of like unlike the Beethoven sequels that I've looked at on this show before. But there have been some Land Before Time sequels that are actually worth watching. But as I said, none of them pale in comparison to the original film, and we're going to take a look at them one by one, starting off with the first one here, the one that came not but 6 years after the original, The Land Before Time 2, The Great Valley Adventure.
For Littlefoot and his friends, life was pretty peaceful in the Great Valley. But that was before they met Chomper. And when some pesky predators start picking a fight, this shrimpy Sharptooth might just be their best chance at fighting back. Cartoon Network's Cartoon Theater presents The Land Before Time 2, Saturday at 7, only on Cartoon Network.
Something I thought that was kind of interesting about The Land Before Time 2, and essentially what Universal was doing at this time, this was around the same time that Disney was starting their direct-to-DVD sequels to their animated classics. I mean, Return of Jafar came out the very same year, but Universal and Warner Brothers were kind of doing that before Disney made that the norm. I mean, think about what Warner Brothers did with Tiny Toons, How I Spent My Summer Vacation, and what Universal did with The Little Engine That Could. I mean, this was not a new thing from around that time, but Disney kind of made that the norm in general. But this is coming 6 years after the original film, and most notably coming a year after Universal had the biggest success at the time with Jurassic Park. And also he had Steven Spielberg, the producer of the original Land Before Time, trying to do another animated movie with talking dinosaurs in it, with We're Back at Dinosaur Story, which needless to say did not have the same success rate as the original Land Before Time did. But I mean, that's how popular dinosaurs were becoming again. And so, yeah, they made this because, hey, Jurassic Park is the norm. That means the demand is there for more Land Before Time movies. And oh, how we didn't know how many of these there were going to be. But in this one, you have, in search of some adventure in their safe and peaceful valley, the 5 dinosaur friends make a hideaway. From there, they spot 2 thieves in action stealing an egg from one of the broods. They chase them down and manage to recover the egg without its parents noticing, but in the process, accidentally create an opening into the valley, allowing 2 dreaded sharp teeth into the valley. Everyone must fight them off together to preserve their peaceful way of life. And definitely one of the things you'll notice right from the get-go with this is that the tonal shifts in this movie go from the Don Bluth 1980s animated darker tone to a much more softer and slower tone, more for the preschoolers in general. I mean, this is definitely not the original movie, you know, the one where, you know, it's much darker, yeah, dinosaurs being killed off by this big earthquake and all that. And not only that, there's always that story where the screams from the kids in that movie was so terrifying in the initial recording sessions, they had to go ahead and re-record all those so they didn't sound as terrifying as they did before. I mean, that movie had balls to do what they did, and it made that such a great movie to watch as a kid. But yeah, this is definitely a much more tamer version of it, which is definitely one of the biggest flaws to the film, which we'll touch on that in just a second. But for what it is, it's harmless. I mean, it still has good moments to it overall. From an animation standpoint, it still looks good for direct-to-video animation. The voice work overall is nicely done. The songs are kind of decent. It's an okay movie, and where the film does kind of take that dive is the lack of an interesting story. And again, the complete tonal shift of a much more heavier tone from the first film to this much more softer tone to appease the preschoolers, really putting a damper on the movie in general. But hey, I was 5 years old when this came out, so yeah, I didn't think it was that bad. I didn't think it was really that traumatizing overall. The original was that traumatizing overall, but there's even some elements here that don't really make a whole lot of sense. One of the recurring subplots is how Lilliford hates being little, as they put it, and not being able to be an adult and have to be being watched over by their parents. And during one of the big action sequences where the gang is literally trying to get off of a volcano, yeah, you thought Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom did the whole dinosaur volcano subplot first? Nope, 24 years prior, Land Before Time 2 did it. There's just a random point where they escape by pushing a tree down and creating a bridge, and then subplot over, never brought up again. But not only that, there's like 5 different climaxes in this movie so they can pad out the runtime. You have the volcano climax. There's a climax where Littlefoot and the gang get chased by the shark tooths. Then there's a climax where the grown-ups have to fight off the shark tooths. Then there's a climax where Littlefoot tries to look for Chompa and gets his foot caught on a log only for him to be freed. And then there's a climax with the 2 villains in the movie kidnapping Littlefoot and literally about to throw him off of a cliff and kill him. And finally the conclusion where the 2 sides have blocked off and things are back to normal. It's just like, this thing has more endings to it than Return of the King did, and I'm not even exaggerating. Like, that's how much they are padding this out to get this out there and try to make a quick buck off of the newfound love of dinosaurs. But like I said, The Land Before Time 2 is definitely a downfall from the last movie, but like I said, it's a mostly harmless movie. Decent elements all around, and if you're looking to get some enjoyment out of one of these sequels, this is definitely one that's not going to kill you to watch it overall. So nevertheless, this was a success overall, and that meant another sequel had to be in the works. So Land Before Time 3, Time of the Great Giving, came out not but 1 year later.
Families of dinosaurs, the bounty that nature provides. But when the water supply vanishes, their home is threatened by drought and fire. Now, Littlefoot and his friends must brave the mysterious beyond to find a way to bring back the Thundering Falls and save their valley. Cartoon Network's Cartoon Theater presents The Land Before Time 3, Sunday at 10 on Cartoon Network.
So in this one, you have a nearby meteorite crashing into the Great Valley and blocking off the dinosaurs' water supply, starting an ecological chain reaction that threatens life in the valley. All the dinosaurs, including a group of stupid bullies, must cooperate in an effort to free the blockage, which involves a risky venture outside the valley. You heard me right. They threw in teenage bullies in the time of the dinosaurs. As Matt Damon said in The Departed, okay. But, I mean, that's definitely the weakest element of this movie, because these characters, who never appear again after this movie, seem really pointless. I mean, it shows one of the biggest recurring problems with these movies, that they always try to make it seem like the little kid dinosaurs can't do jack shit, when the previous 2 movies have shown that. I mean, maybe these kids should be taken more seriously. I mean, how many sharp tooths do these kids have to defeat before they get respected by the adults? Seriously. I mean, it's literally like the equivalent of, you know, I mean, it's basically like the equivalent of watching an athlete play a sport and being as good as he is and winning all these championships, like LeBron James or Tom Brady or, Patrick Mahomes. It's like they win all these championships, and yet people are never really that impressed by him at that point. But I mean, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But then again, the adults act more childish in these movies compared to the kids. This whole movie is basically a role reversal where the adults act like children and the kids act more like adults over the water supply. There's even a very faulty attempt at an environmental message. It's like this movie had so much going on with it. There's not even a plot. It's just, let's throw these random subplots on the wall and see what happens here. It's just like, this one is basically just absolute garbage. That's really what it is. It's one of the least watchable films in this series, and it's mostly because a lack of actual story, a lack of real motivation, a lack of any real potential. This one felt literally like a cash grab with zero effort being put into it. At least the second one was trying, but this one was not. I mean, this was such a mess, man. But hey, to be honest, it was another success. So next year, another Land Before Time movie, Land Before Time 4, Journey Through the Mist.
With his friends, life is about to change in the Great Valley. And if our brave hero is to save the day, then he and his friends will have to face their most important adventure ever. Cartoon Network's Cartoon Theater presents The Land Before Time 4, premiering Saturday at 8 on Cartoon Network.
So in this one, Littlefoot's grandfather is dreadfully ill, and a golden flower is the only hope to cure him. But it lies within the land of the mist, so Littlefoot and his friends, Sarah, Ducky, Petrie, and Spike, and a newcomer named Allie, journey through the mist to find him. Mayhem and danger await around every turn. And I'll be honest, this is probably my overall favorite one of the series overall. This is the one that I felt comes closest to actually being of worth, like actual effort was being put into it to make a quality project, and it definitely shows. The animation in this one is the highest quality they've had up to this point. Just the third act alone that takes place in the nighttime with the golden flowers alone is just worth it to see it on that merits alone. And those songs are really good too. That It Takes All Sorts songs is actually pretty damn catchy when you really hear it. The voice work overall is really solid in this one too. They introduced some pretty fun new characters that bring a lift to the series so it doesn't feel like the same movie. And again, unfortunately, these characters don't return in other films. But unlike the last movie, there actually is a purpose for them to be in this film. There are also a couple of other nitpicky things I could throw in there, too. Some of the story elements are a little predictable, and there's kind of a pointless moment with Spike, who never talks. There's this bit during the movie where they have the two villains cornering the dinos, and, they chase Ducky into this situation where they're trying to gobble him up, and there's this whole thing where she gets knocked unconscious, and then everyone's trying to get her to wake up and all that, but it's Spike who says his first word ever by saying Ducky, and that wakes her up, and it's just kind of like, it's never mentioned again from this point in the franchise. And then, although they at the end of the film briefly they do kind of mention it, but at the same time it's just like, why even have this in there if it's not ever going to be brought up again? It's just like, it feels kind of pointless. It'd be like the equivalent of Gromit or Shaun the Sheep talking in a movie for a little bit and then never bringing it up ever again. It just feels kind of pointless. But again, it's nitpicky stuff, but overall, this is still one of my favorites in the series overall. It actually does hold up a lot better over time. It is actually really enjoyable. It's got some good animation, good songs, great new characters to like, good voice work. Overall, it's a really enjoyable movie. If there's any one of these films I could recommend, Journey Through the Mist is definitely one of those ones to check out. So with that said, in 1997, 1 year later, of course, they made another one, Land Before Time 5, The Mysterious Island.
Are forced to leave the Great Valley. Poppers. The children run away to find a new home for their herds, but they may find more than food waiting on the mysterious island. Cartoon Network's Cartoon Theater presents The Land Before Time 5, Saturday at 7 on Cartoon Network.
So one of the most notable things about this particular movie, not only the fact that Chomper is back in this in the second film, but also this is the one where you have some of the more recent people who have played these characters coming into the fray here, like Andy McCaffey, who you know as Phoebe from Hey Arnold, and also she was on The Soup. She voices Sarah for the first time here. Ariane Noelle Curzon, who you heard on Recess, she voices Ducky in this, and Miriam Flynn from Christmas Vacation in Tasmania actually makes her first debut as Grandma Longneck in this. But in this film, when a swarm of leaf gobblers devours all the green food in the Great Valley, the herd moves on to find another valley of greens, and in the process, Littlefoot and his friends wind up on an island in the middle of the Big Water. They're reunited with Chomper, along with his nasty, hungry parents. Well, I'll give the fourth movie credit for taking a different approach to the story, so it's not the same movie all over again. This one kind of goes back into predictable territory. It's the same plot all over again. Littlefoot and his friends have to venture out of their homes to go into a journey into the world of the dinosaurs and go on an epic adventure and come across new friends and enemies, mostly the Sharptooth this time. Mostly the Sharptooth, which this time it's not a dinosaur that's the biggest threat here. It's water. I'm not even joking. Water is the biggest threat to these characters this time around, more than the Sharptooths are. I mean, water is seriously a threat. That's like if you played that Sega game back in the 90s, Dark Castle, where you can't even stay, like in that game, you can't, there's like a ledge, and if you fall, you actually take damage. I think Urinating Tree did a hilarious bit on that, and it's just like, what the hell's even the point of that? It's just like, water is a threat now. Like, did they watch that Pierce Brosnan movie from the 90s? What was it called? I just had the name for a second. I think it was like a, I can't remember the name of it now. Livewire, that's what it was called. It was literally a movie about explosive water that terrorists used. Now, I'm not even joking. That was the plot of an actual movie. But in terms of the new characters they come across here, however, we don't get many new characters here. We do get the return of Chomper, who can now speak fluent English and has shoulders like he's wearing pads and is about to go play in a football game. I'm not even joking. Like, I like the fact that they gave him to see Chomper. I like the fact that they got Chomper in this one to actually reunite with his friends. And I'm not going to be too harsh on that in particular, but the design, but those shoulder pads, man, like what was the deal with that? But I mean, I'll say most of my harsh criticisms on the songs themselves, which are pretty lackluster overall, and even the animation is kind of bad and kind of cheesy at times. Like, there's parts of this that don't even look like they're finishing the overall animation on certain scenes. Characters will move awkwardly. Some of the set pieces will as well. This is a mess of a film, and that's a shame, considering that Journey Through the Mist was the best one I've seen up to that point. This one takes a radically huge step down and takes a step backwards with this series in general. The story really isn't that engaging, the songs are kind of lackluster, the animation is sloppy, and despite seeing Chomper coming back being kind of cool, the film just doesn't work overall. It's just kind of a major letdown, but once again, another success. 1 year later, Land Before Time 6, Secret of Saurus Rock came out.
The natural world had long been guarded by the mists of time. Stonehenge, the Great Pyramid at Giza, the Moai of Easter Island. Yet of all these wonders, none remains more mysterious than the secret of Saurus Rock.
If anything ever happens to Saurus Rock, bad luck will descend upon the Great Valley.
Littlefoot discovers the spirit watching over the Great Valley may be more than just a legend. Cartoon Network's Cartoon Theater presents The Land Before Time 6, today at 10.
I love how Cartoon Network uses the Universal opening logo for the music behind that commercial, and surprisingly, it actually does kind of fit. It actually is a nice little addition that they made there. I gotta give them credit for that, but this is The Land Before Time 6, The Secret of Saurus Rock, and it's notable for being the first film that features Thomas Dekker, who of course you would later know as John Connor in the Terminator Sarah Connor Chronicles TV series, as both the singing and speaking voice of Littlefoot, and this was actually the last film to use the traditional cell animation. But in this one, Grandpa tells Littlefoot about their mystical hero called the Lone Dinosaur. Sarah gets two lively cousins, voiced by Nancy Cartwright, to take care of. Later, the kids accidentally chip the lucky Saurus Rock and need to fix it before the bad luck hits. And the most notable thing about this movie is that this is the first time The Land Before Time brought in some recognizable voices. I mentioned Thomas Dekker before, but the biggest name in here was Chris Christopherson, who plays the character of Doc in the movie. But as far as the film itself goes, once again, pretty bland and forgettable. Stuff just happens just because they need to pad out the runtime, and they basically have nothing else to work with here. It's the first time you start to realize these sequels start to get repetitive pretty damn quickly. I mean, we've looked at so far 6 of them so far. Only one of them has actually been something unique and different. This one, like, there's nothing about this one that warrants any watchability to it. The animation is better than the last one we looked at, but the story is pretty generic. Nothing else really happens. It is kind of a pointless movie, and it was one that you could definitely tell was only made because these are cash cows, and this was made to make money with no real effort being put into it whatsoever. And that's pretty much all you got to say about The Land Before Time 6, and I guess the sales weren't as good as they were before because they actually took a year off and waited until 2 years later until we got to the new millennium to make the next film, The Land Before Time 7, The Stone of Cold Fire.
Smoky mountains, a bright light flashes across the sky and crashes to Earth. Now, Littlefoot and his pals must embark on an adventure to find what is rumored to be the Stone of Cold Fire. But what they really discover is the power of their friendship.
What we need was magic when we got each other.
Cartoon Network's Cartoon Theater presents The Land Before Time 7. Saturday at 7 on Cartoon Network.
In this one, Littlefoot and his pals set off on a search for the Stone of Cold Fire that fell from the night sky, so essentially a meteorite. Since he's the only one who's seen it, though, nobody really believes him. Petrie's uncle Petriano offers support only because they thinks the stone has secret powers and wants it for himself, but conceals this from the rest. The young dinos must figure out the truth before Petriano, I don't even know if I'm saying this name correctly, gets the power. And most notably about this film, as you can see, it's using digital ink and paint. So they basically have fallen into the same place that The Simpsons was falling into, where they were focusing more on digital ink and paint than cell animation. And it definitely shows in here. This movie, the characters start to look a little too colorful for their own good under this new animation process with brighter colors and less than fluid animation that were in the first couple of movies. And again, as far as this film goes, it's a dull movie. It's very much way too familiar to the last film in general. They're just trying way too hard to tone this down to little kids' levels. Rainbow faces for some of these dinosaurs. Like, really? I know that I have the name right here, but I can't even say it. Gallimimusis. See, I can't even say it, but like, rainbow faces. This is a boring movie, man. This is a really boring movie, and what you kind of expect from a generic Land Before Time sequel. So, of the six sequels we've looked at, only one of them has actually turned out to be good so far, Journey Through the Mist. But the next one, I think, is probably the best one in my personal opinion, and that's The Land Before Time 8, The Big Freeze.
Your kids' favorite characters are back. Join Littlefoot, Sarah, Petrie, Spike, and Ducky in their greatest adventure. Universal Studios Home Video is proud to present The Land Before Time, The Big Freeze.
That looks like fun.
Featuring the dazzling animation your family has come to expect from the Land Before Time films.
Everyone wants to be respected.
With fun new songs.
Everyone wants to be liked.
This holiday season, everyone will want to bring home the enchantment of Littlefoot and his friends. The Land Before Time, The Big Freeze.
Fun, fun, fun.
The adventure continues.
Now, this one feels like a vast improvement over some of the last movies we've taken a look at. Plus, it deals with my favorite season, wintertime, snowfall in the Great Valley. Snow falls in the valley for the first time, puzzling and enchanting everyone. But it's not long before everyone realizes that these fun and fluffy white flakes are a threat to their survival. A visiting Stegosaurus herd fascinates Spike, and he decides to join them on their journey to escape the freeze. While Ducky secretly follows, Littlefoot, Sarah, and Petrie embark on their coolest adventure ever when they decide to brave the icy weather to bring back their missing friends. This chilling and thrilling escapade about friendship will warm your family's heart. Gee, I wonder what person at Universal wrote that, because that's literally what the plot synopsis is from the universe. That feels like a plot synopsis you see on the back of the VHS for this, but despite how cheesy that is, this really is one of my favorite ones in the series. This is, for one thing, like I said, the animation definitely is a vast improvement. The colors look a lot more crisper, the shading is better represented, and the film just looks really nice, especially compared to the flat aspects of the last movie. And I like the concept of the characters dealing with this unusual phenomenon of snow in the Great Valley, and they have a lot of fun concepts and ideas of what they could do with it. The voice work overall is really solid. Robert Guillaume has a really good role in here playing Mr. Thicknose. It's just a really, really fun film overall. This is right up there with Journey Through the Mist is one of my favorite ones, if not my favorite one up to this point, but yeah, this one is actually really good. It's definitely one of the better sequels in the series, no question about it. It's because they took chances with it. They actually did something different compared to just doing the same story over and over and over again. Would that continue into the next film, Journey to Big Water? We'll find out.
The greatest family video series ever is back with The Land Before Time, Journey to Big Water. When a giant flood comes to the Great Valley, Littlefoot, Sarah, Spike, Ducky, Petrie, and their new friend Mo set off on an exciting all-new adventure.
We've got to help Mo get back to the big water. Fine.
With all new songs,
Yes, imaginary friends are wonderful friends, and everybody out.
plus a great new song sung by Donny Osmond. Each Land Before Time feature-length video is an all-time classic. And now on DVD for the first time, 2 of their best love stories. The Great Valley Adventure and The Time of the Great Giving. The Land Before Time, Journey to Big Water, will take you on a new adventure.
There it is.
Coming soon on video and DVD.
When heavy rains create a mysterious new water, Littlefoot sets out to explore the Great Valley. He quickly becomes friends with Mo, the mischievous Ophthalmolosaurus. I'm gonna get these all wrong here. I just know it. Who's been isolated from his pod by the weather. When Littlefoot and friends get separated from their parents because of an earthshake, how many times has this happened in the series now? What, 3 or 4 times now? They help Mo get back to big water while avoiding a hungry shark-toothed swimmer. On their way, Littlefoot and Mo discuss some such interesting and see dangerous things like imaginary friends, the shark-toothed swimmer, the concept of loneliness, and the true meaning of a brother. Once again, much like the last movie, the animation is the real highlight in here. Like, you could just tell there is this nice stylistic approach that these later films are starting to take shape in. It doesn't feel like the flat aspect we saw in The Stone of Cold Fire. This one actually does feel... This in The Big Freeze has this really cool-looking... this really nice-looking animation style to it that plays so much better than it could have played in the other movies. But this one's just overall okay. There's nothing offensively bad about it, except some of the songs are kind of bland and forgettable, and the end song by Donny Osmond will make you want to go deaf so quickly. But other than that, it's fine. Story's predictable, but not terrible. The voice work, once again, is very well done. And you get satisfaction watching this, and you don't feel like your time's being wasted by it. It runs at a good enough pace, but it never feels like it's filler overall. It's just kind of an okay movie, which, compared to what we've looked at so far, that probably does make it at least one of the better ones, but not by that much overall, so... With that said, let's go ahead and get to number 10 in the Land Before Time series, and that is The Great Longneck Migration.
Spectacular Land Before Time movie ever. The Great Longneck Migration is here. Littlefoot and all his friends have set off on their biggest adventure yet. When Littlefoot has a mysterious dream, he and his family journey across the Great Valley,
We're gonna see just what kind of an adventure Littlefoot's having.
followed by his pals. And together they meet someone very special for the very first time.
What do you think is going to happen?
I don't know, Littlefoot. Something wonderful.
I'm going to go adventure.
They encounter wonders of nature, fun, and brand new friends. The Land Before Time, The Great Longneck Migration. Available on video and DVD today.
You get to see Jack Bauer as a dinosaur. I mean, that's something wonderful, I guess. But in this one, a bedtime story leads Littlefoot and his grandparents on a journey to a new land where Littlefoot discovers someone who was vanished before he was born, his father. Now Littlefoot must decide between 2 worlds. Will he leave to be with his friends in the Great Valley, or stay behind and start a new life with his father? This is the decision that forever could change the Land Before Time saga. If you were just seeing this movie in 2003, but now 22 years later, that does not happen in here. This is where you actually get to start to see some pretty recognizable names coming in here. We talked about Chris Christopherson and Robert Guillaume in the previous films. Donny Osmond was in the last one. But not only do you have James Garner and Bernadette Peters, but, I mean, Jack Bauer is literally playing Littlefoot's father. How cool is that? I mean, this was actually the last Land Before Time film I got really excited about to see when it was coming out before I grew out of the series. And now, after many years later, I can say it was definitely worth the wait. I think this one is actually another really good one overall. I mean, this is once again, the animation is great. The story is actually investing. I wanted to know why Littlefoot's father was nowhere to be found in that first movie. And they do a pretty good job of tying it back to the first film in general. This one, you actually felt like they were doing a good job trying to make it go full circle again. And again, not a masterpiece by any means, but The Great Longneck Migration is another one of those really good sequels in the series. There's an interesting story being told that hadn't been brought up yet. The animation is still really good. The voice work is top-notch. It's another overly solid film overall, and it's up there with Journey Through the Mist and The Big Freeze is one of the best of the series overall. And then it kind of goes back to being watered down again with the next film we have here, The Land Before Time 11, Invasion of the Tinysaurses.
Now there's a place that you can go where adventure waits with friends you know. Mountains high and valleys low.
Everybody follow me. I'm gonna get you.
Dino Fest with Littlefoot, Petrie, Spike, and the rest.
The Land Before Time, Invasion of the Tinysaurses. An all-new movie now on DVD and video.
And now we've reached the bottom of the barrel. This one is the first one in this series I can honestly say is absolutely awful. While trying to obtain tree sweets, Littlefoot hits into the tree and knocks down all the blossoms which attract the tiny dinosaurs called Tinysaurses. They devour the plants and disappear, but Littlefoot isn't blamed for the disappearance. Instead of taking the blame, he accidentally makes the adults go into a Get Frankenstein frenzy when they believe the tiny dinosaurs were the main cause. Now Littlefoot and his friends must protect the tiny herd, and in the end learn the value of honesty. And as I mentioned, this is where they step into pretty goddamn ridiculous territory here. This is the point where they were just throwing anything at the wall and seeing if any of it sticks at all. I mean, and most of the time, it does not. I mean, yes, the animation looks good in this, but the plot just makes no sense whatsoever. Even for the preschools that this is aiming for, I could easily see kids looking at this premise and going like, come on, man, I'm 5 years old and I can't even understand what the hell is going on here. Like, don't even get me on the songs in this. These are some of the worst songs in the series easily. So cringeworthy, so just unpleasant to sit through. This is the first one where you really felt like they just were in it for the money. At least the other ones, the ones I've talked about that are not that great, were at least trying to get something out of it. But this one, no, they completely just made this one for the money, and it shows. The animation looks nice, but again, visuals don't make a good movie, and this one is not a good movie at all. And this is one of the first ones that I can honestly say I absolutely hate this one on a number of levels. But sadly, this is the way the series would go after that, because the next movie we have here, The Land Before Time 12, The Great Day of the Flyers, continues this downward spiral.
Welcome to The Land Before Time. The #1 best-selling animated movie series, full of upbeat songs and playful stories about friendship, loyalty, and growing up. With lovable Littlefoot,
Let's go.
devoted Ducky,
Oh, I believe it. Yep, yep, yep.
eager Chomper,
Follow me.
panicky Petrie, gentle giant Spike, and sweet but strong-willed Sarah.
Little goofy woofus.
And now, the adventure continues with an all-new movie, The Great Day of the Flyers, with a brand new dinosaur, Guido.
Hi.
Parenting Magazine calls it uplifting and adorable. A sky-high adventure. The Land Before Time.
And so we go on. Petrie's having a difficult time preparing for the Day of the Flyers, an important day for all the flying residents of the Great Valley, where all of the young flyers must participate in a very precise flying exhibition to prove that they are ready to fly with the adults. Always a nervous flyer, Petrie has even more trouble flying with his siblings in precise group formations. He's more of an independent freestyle flyer. At the same time, a strange newcomer to the Great Valley has Littlefoot and his friends trying to figure out just exactly what he is, named Guido, a feather flyer. He's the strangest looking creature any of the Great Valley creatures have ever seen, especially since he's covered with feathers. And he's never seen anyone like himself. Sarah's having her own troubles with her grumpy father and her new mate Tria getting ready to welcome a hatchling into the family. All these issues come together on the night before the Day of the Flyers when Guido starts to figure out what he is, inadvertently leading all of the gang on a perilous adventure into the mysterious beyond. They encounter a Spinosaurus which gives chase and tries to eat them, but Petrie, Guido, and the others defeat the Spinosaurus and they return to the Great Valley. And let me just say, my god, that trailer was so cringe-worthy on so many levels. It's really like The Land Before Time went from this serious, well-animated, well-written movie in the first film to just being something that just entertains your 5-year-old. Like, you're literally juggling keychains in front of them to get them to stop crying. That's literally what we're at here, people. A series that is the most safest and non-threatening thing you've ever seen. And I thought the last movie was a low point, but this one's pretty pathetic. There's still 2 more after this one, too, but to be honest, at the same time this was coming out, they were also working on the TV series as well. So I guess there was much less effort being put into that than there was on the TV series. But let's put it this way. The TV series had better animation than the direct-to-video movie. I mean, the intro to the show was a lot better than the animation in this film. And that was made for TV. Which, yeah, technically they were all made for TV with the direct-to-video format. But still, I mean, come on, man. Like, this one has a lot of the problems in the Great Day of the Flyers, and it just pretty much stems over from the problems of the last movie with worse animation than that one did. You know, this one, I guess to its credit, it's not as stupid plot-wise. compared to the last movie, so it kind of evens itself out a little bit, but it's about as bad as forgettable as this. But hey, it shuts your kids up for for at least an hour, so I guess they'll take it. So that's that one. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one in the series, the penultimate Land Before Time film, if you will, The Wisdom of Friends. Which, by the way, watch this and check out the amazing, unique marketing campaign they have for this, because I can't believe I haven't seen this before.
Welcome to The Land Before Time, the #1 best-selling animated movie series. Full of upbeat songs and playful stories about friendship, loyalty, and growing up. With lovable Littlefoot.
Let's go.
Devoted Ducky.
Oh, I believe it. Yep, yep, yep.
Eager Chomper.
Follow me.
Panicky Petrie. Gentle Giant Spike. And sweet but strong-willed Sarah.
A little goopy whoopus.
And now, the adventure continues with an all-new movie, The Wisdom of Friends, starring 2 new characters, Lufa and Doofa, featuring the voice talent of Academy Award winner Cuba Gooding Jr. and Golden Globe winner Sandra Oh.
This is kind of fun.
Explore the fun and exciting Land Before Time collection today, including the all-new movie, The Wisdom of Friends, and don't miss the all-new TV series, The Land Before Time Amazing Adventures, now on DVD.
Oh wait, they did. It's literally the same promo that they did for the previous movie. They didn't even change it, except the fact that they changed the movie from The Great Day of the Flyers to The Wisdom of Friends. I mean, this one, it's about as generic as you can get. It follows Littlefoot, Sarah, Ducky, Spike, and Petrie, who are excited to meet 2 yellow-bellied Dilophosaurus, Lufa and Doofa, who have lost their way while traveling to distant Berry Valley. Lufa and Doofa seem to be too unintelligent to find their way back, so Littlefoot and the others decide to help their new friends while sharing important life lessons called wisdoms along the way. Yeah, this is about the laziest one they've done up to this point. I mean, if you thought the last 2 movies were lazy, this one just takes the cake. This is such a mess of a movie. Again, no real story here. They pad this out to 76 minutes to qualify as a feature-length movie, but nothing happens in this movie. I mean, it's, again, a movie that you look at and see that the film really has lost everything that made that first movie so special. And we're not just trying to distract the 5-year-olds anymore. This is trying to distract the 2-year-olds for this. I mean, yeah, bright colors, the same sense that this is a new adventure, which is literally the same goddamn movie they've been doing the last couple of times. Like, it's no wonder why this was the last one they did for the longest time, but what a sour note for this series to go out on, which started off so strongly with the one by Don Bluth, and it has been reduced down to this. This is easily the worst one of these films, and it's just a generic, boring film with nothing of value to it whatsoever, except to shut your kids up. Pretty much that. And like I said, it was the last one that was released until 9 years later. You know, when Jurassic World suddenly got everybody thinking that, hey, dinosaurs are cool again. Universal saw that and said, idea, we need a new Land Before Time movie. So here's the next Land Before Time film, the last one of the series, Journey of the Brave.
Hey guys, you know what day today is? Special day.
Your favorite dinosaurs are starring in an all-new movie.
Woo! I want to do that again.
The Land Before Time, Journey of the Brave.
Let's go.
Join Littlefoot, Sarah, Ducky, Petrie, and Spike as they set off on an exciting rescue mission.
We'll never make it through. My dad's in trouble. I'm going to the Fire Mountain. I'm going to help him.
Experience the wonder of their latest adventure,
This way.
filled with fun new friends and sensational new songs, including Look for the Light, performed by Reba McEntire.
Look for the light, one little spot. Cheer up, Littlefoot.
Bring home the newest story in the greatest family movie series of all time.
I'm so happy we're all together.
The Land Before Time, Journey of the Brave, coming to DVD and digital HD.
So yeah, they made another one after Jurassic World made over $650 million at the box office, and Universal said, yeah, it's time to do a Land Before Time movie again. Cash it now while the iron's hot. And it kind of is a return to form a little bit from the best of the series in general, but this one you have Littlefoot's father not returning from an important journey, so he and his friends go out to find him, and the new characters in here are played by Damon Wayans Jr., and you also have Reba McEntire, who sings the song Look for the Light. So how does this one fare up? And we'll be honest here, I didn't go into this with a lot of high expectations considering how the last couple movies were so bad. And yeah, it's like I said, I had kind of faded out of the newer Land Before Time movies after the 10th one, The Great Longneck Migration, but watching this for the first time, I actually did kind of find myself enjoying it again. I mean, there's actual suspense in this movie, and actual excitement once again. Actual cartoon danger and suspense. I mean, something that was missing from the last 3 movies. You have a sandstorm, a rock slide, chases by scary predators, falls from way high up. I mean, stuff that was really missing from the last few movies, which kind of substituted the intense action for the more kid-friendly, inoffensive action that plagued those terrible films that we looked at. I mean, this one actually fixes a lot of those miscues, and it does take you completely by surprise at how good it actually kind of is. The animation, once again, is back to form again. This is the Christmas animation I've seen from this series, probably since The Great Longneck Migration. It's visually impressive for a direct-to-video feature, especially one made from only a few years ago. Like, I mean, the voice work overall is still pretty good. A lot of the voice actors from the original are back. Andy McAfee again, Aria Kuzan, Jeff Bennett as Petrie, Rob Paulson as Spike. The only one that's new in here is Felix Avivia, playing Littlefoot, and there is some good changes to the voice cast overall. You got Barry Bostwick playing Grandpa Longneck, who replaces Kenneth Morris, and George Ball, who replaced the late John Ingle as Sarah's father. And again, Reba McEntire, Damon Wayans Jr. in here. The songs are surprisingly not that bad either. That Look for the Light song actually is pretty good and catchy, and it was one of those things where, just like, yeah, it took me back to stuff like Journey Through the Mist with It Takes All Sorts and how catchy that song is. This was a nice return to form for the series, but it's a shame that they couldn't do any more of these after this, because this one actually was really good. I mean, this was actually a nice return to form to the original Land Before Time movie in general. It came close to coming to the spirit of the original film that we hadn't had in a while. It's actually worth it. Great animation, great script, great music, great voice work. It's a really good movie. If I had to pick the best ones that I've looked at, I've seen all these years, this one's definitely up there with Journey Through the Mist or the Big Freeze. Like, if you're going to see any of these Land Before Time sequels, Journey Through the Mist, The Big Freeze, and Journey of the Brave are the ones that I say are must-see films. Every other one is just, if you want to go through with them all, they're not going to hurt you overall, but avoid those 3 that I mentioned. Invasion of the Tinysaurses, The Wisdom of Friends, and The Great Day of the Flyers. So basically, anything between Journey to the Brave and The Great Longneck Migration. Those you can avoid completely, but yeah, so there you go. That's my full thoughts on the Land Before Time series. I'm finally glad I was able to get through to this one finally. I've been wanting to do this for so long, but other videos kept getting in the way, but I hope you found enjoyment out of this one, and I hope you remember this series as much as I do, but regardless of how I feel about the sequels, the first Land Before Time is still a classic film. I don't think I need to say more about that one overall, So that's it for the show. Next time around, we will be back with a new show, getting back to the years in general, looking at the first films of 2013, first film of 2013, I should say, with Texas Chainsaw 3D, which, what do you expect? It's the first weekend of the new year. Of course, nobody's going to put out something that they really believe in. But we also have some 2012 leftovers, including The Sound of My Voice, The Oranges, Smiley, and of course your DC Warner Brothers film, Superman vs. the Elite, Batman The Dark Knight Returns Part 1, and Justice League Doom. So we'll take a look at 7 films on the next episode as we head into 2013 next time around. But thank you once again for joining me on this special show. If you like what you saw here and want to see more videos like this, please go ahead and do the honor of hitting that like button, that subscribe button, and that notification button. Also, don't forget to check out our playlist, and don't forget to check out the previous episode we did. So with all that said, whether it's in the past, the present, or the future, I will see you at the movies. Take care.